He never imagined that the old radio, a dusty heirloom from his parents, harbored a secret that would irrevocably alter his life. Its inestimable value transcended mere sentimentality, revealing itself in a manner he could never have foreseen. For anyone who relishes narratives brimming with unexpected twists, this particular journey promises a profound exploration of destiny's subtle workings. The protagonist, like many of us, had initially dismissed the vintage appliance as nothing more than a relic, a cumbersome piece of furniture taking up space, imbued solely with the quiet echoes of a bygone era and the lingering memories of those who had cherished it. It sat there, a silent sentinel, bearing the patina of decades, its wooden casing dulled by time, its fabric speaker grille a faded testament to countless hours of news, music, and family laughter. He saw it simply as an antique, valuable only for the emotional weight it carried, a tangible link to a past that now felt impossibly distant following their profound loss. Yet beneath the layers of dust and the veneer of the commonplace, an astonishing truth lay dormant, waiting for the opportune moment to emerge. This truth would not only bring immense wealth but also an unexpected sense of clarity and a unique form of wisdom about how life's greatest treasures often hide in plain sight. The story unfolds as a gentle reminder that even the most ordinary objects, when viewed with fresh eyes and an open heart, can conceal extraordinary legacies, transforming one's perception of happiness and providing a sudden, overwhelming surge of joy that extends far beyond monetary gain. It is a testament to the fact that genuine fortune is not always found, but sometimes uncovered through patience and a willingness to look beyond the obvious. This tale, therefore, is not merely about a radio. It is about the quiet revolution of one man's life, catalyzed by an object he almost discarded, evolving into a narrative of profound personal growth and unexpected prosperity. If the prospect of such a remarkable unveiling captivates your imagination, prepare yourself to delve deeper into a narrative where every chapter promises to reveal a new layer of wonder. After the final goodbyes at the funeral, a suffocating quiet descended upon the house. The overwhelming task of emptying it, a monument to a lifetime concluded, lay ahead. Each object held a silent story, a fragment of the past, making the process of dealing with parents' cherished belongings an emotional labyrinth. Boxes filled with forgotten photographs, shelves burdened with books, and closets overflowing with clothes still carried the faintest scent of their lives. It was an almost insurmountable undertaking, demanding a resilience often absent in moments of grief. Every corner held a memory, every drawer a piece of their history. The feeling of being submerged in their past was palpable, a heavy blanket making it difficult to breathe. Amidst this sea of mementos, the old radio stood in the living room, a silent sentinel that had occupied the same spot for decades. It was a bulky wooden contraption, a relic from a bygone era, an undeniable sentimental white elephant. Its presence, so ingrained in the home's fabric, had become almost invisible, yet now it loomed large, a symbol of a life that was no more. The sheer volume of items to sort through made pragmatic decisions necessary. The idea of holding onto every single thing felt impossible, a pathway to living perpetually in the past. There was no immediate sense of potential wealth or hidden joy to be found within these dusty possessions, only the daunting challenge of decluttering. The house, once resonating with the simple happiness of shared moments and the quiet wisdom of lived experiences, now felt like a mausoleum of memories. The protagonist stared at the radio, its polished surface dulled by time, its dials seemingly frozen in a bygone frequency. The thought to simply dispose of it, along with other cumbersome, seemingly useless items, was a practical impulse. It was old, surely broken, and took up a significant amount of space. In the grand scheme of clearing out a lifetime's worth of accumulated treasures, it registered as just another item on a long list of discards. Sentiment was certainly there, but practicality often won in the face of such an enormous undertaking. The sheer physical and emotional drain led to a mindset of simplification, of reducing the burden. The radio in that moment was nothing more than a weighty, out-of-date piece of furniture, easily forgettable amidst the much larger sorrow. The prospect of future happiness or unexpected wealth seemed entirely remote as they navigated this profound period of loss and transition. The weight of the past few weeks still pressed heavily upon them as they sought a moment of respite. A casual lunch with an old friend felt like a necessary escape from the somber atmosphere of the house, still echoing with silent memories. Their friend, always a beacon of light and positive energy, possessed a vibrant enthusiasm for the arcane world of collectibles and forgotten treasures. It was amidst light-hearted banter and shared reminiscing that the old radio, an object that had felt like nothing more than a bulky burden just days before, inadvertently entered the conversation. The protagonist, still grappling with the sheer volume of their parents' possessions, simply mentioned it as another item on the ever-growing list of things to sort through, contemplating its eventual disposal. There was no real expectation, no inkling of the profound shift that this brief mention would soon initiate. Their friend, however, with her keen eye for history and her infectious joy for uncovering hidden narratives, paused. She listened intently, her expression thoughtful, as the protagonist described the radio's general appearance, its age, its imposing size, its seemingly unremarkable presence in their parents' living room for as long as they could remember. Then, without fanfare, she commented, almost as an aside, on the surprising rarity and potential value of certain radio models from specific eras. She spoke of intricate designs, unique manufacturers, or even subtle historical connections that could transform an ordinary piece into something quite extraordinary, sometimes even hinting at untold wealth for those fortunate enough to stumble upon such an item. It wasn't a direct pronouncement about their radio, not by any means, but a general observation from someone deeply immersed in the world of antiques. Yet this simple offhand remark planted a tiny seed of curiosity, a faint glimmer of a possibility that had never crossed the protagonist's mind. It was a subtle whisper of potential joy, a gentle nudge away from the immediate despair. A new thought began to blossom, pushing past the weariness of grief. Could there be more to that dusty old box than just sentimental value? Was it possible that among the countless items accumulated over a lifetime, this particular object held a hidden secret? The idea, initially dismissed as fanciful, now clung to the edges of their thoughts. The friend's words resonated with an unexpected wisdom, suggesting that sometimes the most ordinary objects conceal the most surprising truths. It wasn't about the pursuit of immense wealth, not yet, but a burgeoning desire to simply understand. Before the conversation ended, a decision had quietly formed. Upon returning home, they would take a closer, more deliberate look at the venerable radio. Perhaps, just perhaps, there was a story waiting to be uncovered, a hint of unexpected happiness in a time of sorrow. The lingering comment from their friend about antique radios had planted a seed of curiosity, small yet persistent. Back home, after a period of quiet reflection, the protagonists found themselves drawn to the computer, a half-hearted attempt to satisfy this new, subtle intrigue. The initial online search was straightforward, typing in general terms like vintage radios or old radio models from the era. Pages loaded, displaying a multitude of images, some strikingly similar to the one nestled in their living room. What immediately became clear was that while such radios certainly held a place in the collector's market, their general value seemed modest. The protagonist scrolled through various auction sites and online antique stores, noting prices that ranged from a few hundred to perhaps a couple of $1,000s for particularly well-preserved or unique pieces. There was no sudden jolt of excitement, no premonition of immense wealth. The results were, frankly, unremarkable. It was a discovery that brought no immediate burst of happiness or overwhelming joy, simply a confirmation that the old radio was just that, an old radio with a certain nostalgic charm but no apparent hidden fortune. The fleeting thought of it being a grand discovery quickly faded, replaced by a resigned acceptance of its probable everyday value. This initial assessment, grounded in the broad strokes of the general online market, suggested a mundane reality. There was no grand revelation, no instant pathway to unforeseen riches. The protagonist felt a quiet sense of anticlimax, a small, almost imperceptible sigh of contentment mixed with a touch of practical wisdom, as they acknowledged that not every inherited item held a secret treasure. It was a quiet moment of learning, understanding that sometimes things are just what they seem. However, as the cursor hovered over a series of search results, a less conventional link, almost overlooked, caught their attention. It was not a typical retail site, nor an auction house, but rather an online forum. This particular forum catered specifically to an incredibly niche community, dedicated enthusiasts and serious collectors of highly specialized antique electronic equipment. It was a place where detailed schematics were discussed, restoration techniques debated, and rare finds meticulously cataloged by individuals who possessed an almost scholarly devotion to the subject. This unexpected portal, a digital gateway to a deeper well of knowledge, promised a different kind of inquiry, one far removed from the general market's superficial valuations. It was a subtle nudge, a quiet invitation to explore a realm where hidden depths might reside, far beyond the initial, unexciting surface of simple market value. The protagonist embarked on the task of cleaning the old radio, a chore prompted by recent online research and a friend's passing comment, now tinged with a newfound sense of purpose. It was an act rooted in simple curiosity, a spark of wisdom to thoroughly examine something so long taken for granted. This wasn't about immediate wealth or the expectation of a grand discovery, but rather about a meticulous appreciation of an object that had been a silent, dusty witness to decades of family life. With a soft cloth, they began to wipe away the layers of time, revealing the inherent beauty of the polished wooden casing. As the cleaning progressed, meticulous attention was paid to every curve and knob. The wood, once dull, began to softly gleam, showcasing the fine craftsmanship. It was when their fingers reached the seldom-seen back of the heavy unit that an unexpected sensation registered. A slight, almost imperceptible raised point different from the smooth wood or any common imperfection. They paused, curiosity intensifying. Tilting the radio carefully to catch the ambient light, a small, discreet mark became visible. It was not a scratch or a defect, but an intentionally engraved symbol, nestled subtly on the lower edge of the wooden case near where the power cord would connect. The emblem was unfamiliar, a unique arrangement of interwoven lines, entirely unlike any standard manufacturer's logo or serial number they had observed in their recent online investigations. This tiny detail struck them immediately as peculiar, a deviation from the common models they had seen. Their earlier extensive browsing of similar radios online, across various antique forums and image galleries, had never revealed such a marking. Every typical identifier they had encountered was absent here. Instead, this unique symbol was present. A quiet thrill, a precursor to potential joy, began to stir within. Could this unassuming mark be a significant clue? A deep sense of happiness born from this emerging mystery slowly blossomed. It was a tangible difference, a whisper of a hidden narrative, suggesting this family heirloom held a unique story beyond its sentimental value. This was more than just an old radio. It was becoming clear this single, almost hidden detail hinted at something profoundly different, potentially leading to unimagined wealth and a deeper understanding of its past. This small, engraved mark was the first hint of its extraordinary lineage. Driven by a faint, persistent curiosity, the protagonist decided to take the old radio to a small, local antique shop. The online searches had provided some general information, but the unusual, subtle mark on the casing hinted at a detail beyond common knowledge. This wasn't a pursuit of grand wealth or a desperate hope for hidden fortune. It was a simple, pragmatic step. The protagonist held no grand illusions. It was merely a routine errand, a small part of the ongoing process of settling the estate. The chosen shop was known more for its quaint, dusty charm than for high-value discoveries, making it the perfect, low-pressure setting for a quick second opinion. Carrying the radio, carefully wrapped, felt less like a burden and more like a necessary act, a quiet commitment to thoroughly address every part of the inheritance. There was a subtle sense of joy in the methodical approach, a calm satisfaction in following every lead, no matter how minor. Stepping inside, the distinct scent of old wood and forgotten histories immediately filled the air. The shop was a delightful jumble, shelves overflowing with generations of curiosities and forgotten treasures. From the depths of this cluttered haven, the proprietor emerged. He was an older man, his face a canvas of wrinkles, his spectacles perched precariously on his nose, radiating an air of seasoned, almost weary indifference. As he approached, his gaze swept over the protagonist and then with a practiced, almost dismissive flick landed on the radio. It was a cursory glance, barely a moment of true attention. There was no sudden intake of breath, no flicker of surprise, no hint of a significant find. He simply grunted, a sound that conveyed a lifetime of seeing countless common items, and then turned away, seeming to barely acknowledge the radio's presence. The protagonist, despite the subtle wisdom of seeking expert advice, felt a familiar, quiet wave of disappointment wash over them, precisely as anticipated. Any fleeting hope of extraordinary happiness tied to this old object receded, confirming the initial, mundane impression. It was just an old radio, after all. Havia entrato na pequena e disorganizzata loja d'antiguidades, quais descartando a visita como uma perda de tempo. O proprietario homem ranzans a camaculos na ponta dunares e uma cranca permanente, confirmo seu ceticismo initial. Ele mal grunhiu a ver o radio antigo sobre o balco, seu alhar verendo o objeto como uma indiferença treinada. Sua avaliação initial foi perfunctória, rapido alhar, toque desinteressado nos bodos. La percha presta declarar o radio nada mais do que mentalho sentimental, talvez valendo uma inheria. A idea de uma riqueza potential havia sido uma nossa passageira, quais boba, rapidamente suprimida pela realidade empourada de loja. No entanto, enquanto seus dedos nodosos percorriam a madeira pálida, seus movimentos se tornaram menos apressados. Seus olhos, inicialmente vidrados de tédio, começaram a focar com uma intensidade inquietante. Ele inclinou o radio, capturando a luz e então, quais instintivamente, seu polegar encontrou a pequena e quais invisível marca na parte de trás da caixa. Era o mesmo em tal sutil que ela mesma havia notado, aquele que havia aguçado sua curiosidade o suficiente para trazer-lo até ali. Por momento, ele congelou, a mão suspensa no ar. O desinteresse casual que havia caracterizado sua postura momentos antes evaporou completamente, substituído por uma expressão de choque profundo quase títral. Sua boca antes uma linha apertada se abriu ligeiramente. Seus olhos aumentados pelos óculos grossos se irregularam, refletindo o assombro que estava moído além de sua compreensão. silencio que usabra loja, espelhando a quietude sabita que havia tomado conta do proprietário. Alessi inclinu mais o rosto a poucos centímetros do levantal. Então Alessi endireto lentamente seus movimentos deliberados, como se estivesse menucindo algo imensamente frágil. Ele algo para ela seu olhar penetrante, não mais vendo mere cliente, mas a portador de algo extraordinário. Sua voz, quando finalmente veio, foi quase sussurro, forte contraste com seu tom brusco interior. Isso é acute impossível, ele murmurou, sua voz carregada de uma mistura de descrença e reverência. Essa marca ela se conecta a algo incrivelmente raro, pedaço de história esquecida. Ele fala de uma linhagem histórica, uma proveniência única que indicava uma associação com figuras ou eventos de passado distante, mas permanece tentadormente vago sobre os detalhes específicos. Ele evita cuidadosamente qualquer menção a número definitivo ou valor monetário, suas palavras se concentrando na pura improbabilidade de tal descoberta. O ar na loja fico denso como potencial naudido. Uma compreensão silenciosa passo entre eles, uma consciência compartilhada de que aquela relíquia empoderada era muito mais do que percha. Foi momento de sabedoria crescente, uma felicidade silenciosa borbulhando dentro de lá enquanto a magnitude de sua risa realmente começava a se manifestar, sutilmente prometendo futuro de inesperada alegria e potencial riqueza. O velho antes medidor de pequenas transações era agora guardia relutante de uma revelação, indicando uma conexão que alteraria para sempre sua percepção do radio simples de seus pais. The venerable, unassuming radio, now carefully secured, began its journey to a highly specialized restorer. The protagonist felt a unique blend of apprehension and burgeoning hope, knowing that the antique dealer had been correct. This was no ordinary heirloom. The restorer, celebrated for their unparalleled expertise in vintage electronics and meticulous attention to detail, represented the crucial next phase in uncovering the radio's concealed truths. This step was taken with a growing sense of wonder, a subtle undercurrent of excitement about the potential discoveries that lay ahead. The initial hint of the radio's intrinsic value had blossomed into a profound mystery, compelling the protagonist to delve deeper. Weeks unfolded as the protagonist eagerly awaited word from the restorer. They envisioned the restorer's hands, precise and steady, methodically dismantling the aged components, painstakingly examining every wire, every joint, every surface of the wooden casing. This intricate process was more than a mere repair. It was an archaeological delve into forgotten technology, a delicate equilibrium between careful preservation and startling revelation. There was a quiet sense of contentment, a genuine happiness, in knowing the radio was in such expert care, finally receiving the meticulous attention something so cherished by their parents deserved. This unexpected path, born from a sense of duty, was steadily evolving into an extraordinary adventure, hinting at a richness that extended far beyond traditional notions of wealth. Then the anticipated call arrived. The restorer's voice, typically composed, now carried a distinct note of professional awe. They had indeed commenced the painstaking process of restoration, meticulously cataloging each individual part, preparing to bring the antiquated circuits back to full function. But in the midst of this precise work, an extraordinary discovery had been made, something intricately concealed deep within the radio's robust frame, completely invisible to the casual eye. It was neither a manufacturing defect nor a previous repair. Instead, it was a deliberately placed, subtly etched internal identification mark. This unique insignia, meticulously engraved onto a hidden plate, was unlike anything the restorer had encountered in their extensive decades of specialized work, a testament to their acquired wisdom. The restorer explained, with a tone of quiet reverence, that this precise identifier revealed a direct, personal connection. A link not to a generic model or a factory production line, but specifically to a particular individual. And not just any individual, but a significant, albeit largely forgotten historical figure. The name once spoken was unfamiliar to the protagonist, a personality who had, for various reasons, faded from widespread historical prominence, almost as if deliberately overshadowed or simply lost to the relentless currents of time. This profound revelation intensified the radio's mystery immeasurably. It transcended being just an old radio. It was a deeply personal artifact intimately connected to a long-obscured individual from a bygone era. The initial spark of curiosity within the protagonist now ignited into an all-consuming fire of intrigue and intellectual joy. The questions began to multiply, each one drawing the protagonist deeper into the unfolding narrative, hinting at vast, untapped reservoirs of historical knowledge patiently awaiting discovery beneath the seemingly mundane surface of this inherited object. The true mystery had unequivocally begun to unravel, promising revelations far beyond their initial expectations. With the dedicated assistance of the skilled restorer and a team of insightful historians, the protagonist embarked on an enthralling journey deep into the past. What began as a simple inquiry quickly transformed into a meticulous investigation, piecing together forgotten fragments of history. They delved into dusty archives, cross-referenced obscure documents, and explored countless historical records, each discovery adding another layer to the radio's enigmatic story. It was a process that demanded patience and keen attention to detail, but with every new piece of information uncovered, a profound sense of intellectual joy blossomed. The old radio, once merely a sentimental relic, began to truly speak, whispering tales of a bygone era and the lives it had touched. Through this exhaustive research, a remarkable truth emerged. The radio had once been the prized possession of a prominent, albeit largely forgotten, figure from a pivotal period in American history. While their name might not resonate immediately with the general public, this individual's influence during that crucial time was undeniable and far-reaching. They were not a front-page celebrity, but rather a quiet force, working diligently behind the scenes, subtly shaping events and impacting the course of national development. The historians highlighted this person's exceptional wisdom, noting how their discreet actions and thoughtful decisions had, in many ways, contributed to significant outcomes that still echo in the present day. There was a genuine happiness in connecting these historical dots, in witnessing how this seemingly ordinary household item was intricately woven into the fabric of extraordinary lives. The richness of this historical discovery surpassed any initial expectations. It was a testament to the idea that true wealth extends far beyond monetary value, often residing in the stories, the heritage, and the profound connections that objects carry. This deep dive into the radio's provenance was not just about authenticating an antique. It was about rediscovering a forgotten chapter of American history and appreciating the remarkable individuals who shaped it. It brought a quiet sense of fulfillment, a triumphant feeling of uncovering hidden truths that had lain dormant for decades. The entire process was slow, deliberate, and demanded immense dedication from everyone involved, but the illuminating revelations were undoubtedly worth every single effort, adding incredible depth and meaning to the antique device. It was a moment of profound insight, linking a personal inheritance directly to a significant national narrative, serving as a powerful reminder of the countless hidden stories that objects can tell. The journey of the old radio had reached its most critical juncture, leading it to a preeminent New York auction house. This final, decisive step followed revelations from the restorer and historians. The process was meticulously formal, demanding extensive documentation and transport, leaving the owner in an almost unbearable suspense for weeks. Days bled into weeks, each a testament to the thoroughness of the auction house's due diligence. Their team of experts delved into every facet of the radio's existence, scrutinizing its unique markings, verifying historical connections, and authenticating its provenance with painstaking precision. More than an appraisal, it was a deep dive into its very soul, confirming every whispered theory and unearthed clue. The quiet hum of anticipation grew with each passing day, as the weight of potential confirmation settled, a silent testament to the unfolding mystery. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of detailed research and meticulous authentication, the pivotal call arrived. The voice on the other end, calm and professional, delivered news that resonated with an almost surreal clarity. The auction house confirmed, without a shadow of a doubt, that the old radio was not just a valuable antique but an unequivocally unique museum piece. Its historical significance, unparalleled rarity, and pristine condition elevated it beyond mere collectible status. The revelation was immense, transforming the mundane into the miraculous. The estimated valuation, articulated with a quiet gravity, was nothing short of staggering. Millions of dollars, a sum so vast it seemed only a dream. The immediate reaction was a profound wave of happiness, an unexpected rush of pure joy that washed over them. It was a feeling compounded by disbelief, as if the universe had played the most elaborate and generous trick. This wasn't merely about immense wealth, it was the profound validation of an incredible journey, a testament to hidden stories beneath everyday objects. A newfound wisdom emerged, understanding how an ordinary inheritance could blossom into something extraordinary, a vivid reminder that true value often lies concealed, waiting for discovery. The old radio, once a symbol of quiet family memories, was now poised to become a beacon of historical legacy and incredible fortune, a testament to fate's surprising twists. The confirmation from the New York auction house, valuing the humble radio in the millions, irrevocably shattered the quiet existence the protagonist had always known. What began as a simple act of clearing inherited items from her parents' home had rapidly escalated into a whirlwind of unprecedented proportions. News of the astonishing valuation rippled through specialized collector circles before exploding into the mainstream media, transforming her overnight into a reluctant figure of public interest. Her phone, once a quiet companion, now rang incessantly with calls from eager reporters, relentless documentary filmmakers, and television producers, all clamoring for an exclusive glimpse into her story and the artifact's profound history. This sudden, relentless surge in publicity felt simultaneously exhilarating and deeply unsettling, eroding the cherished privacy that had once been a comforting constant in her life. Beyond the media frenzy, a new wave of potential buyers emerged, not just the usual high-end collectors, but also venerable museums, distinguished historical societies, and private investors with seemingly limitless resources. Each inquiry, each substantial offer, introduced another layer of profound complexity. It was no longer simply about the monetary value. It encompassed the radio's historical legacy, its irreplaceable integrity, and the deep, abiding emotional connection she shared with an item that had belonged to her parents. The sheer magnitude of wealth now intrinsically linked to the radio was utterly overwhelming, forcing her to confront intricate decisions she had never conceived possible. Her life, once a predictable tapestry, was now a bewildering labyrinth of choices concerning the inheritance, public relations, and the very core of her personal identity. This intense spotlight brought with it an immediate and profound sense of responsibility. The initial rush of joy from the discovery began to be steadily tempered by the immense pressure to make the unequivocally right choices. Every public interaction, every carefully considered appearance, and every word she uttered felt meticulously scrutinized, weighed, and analyzed by an unseen audience. The sheer wisdom required to navigate this dizzying new landscape was something she recognized she had to cultivate rapidly and decisively. How, she pondered, does one possibly maintain a grounded sense of self amidst such an overwhelming tide of external attention and pervasive expectation? The fundamental question of how to best handle this monumental inheritance, whether to sell it immediately, carefully preserve it, or perhaps even donate it to a worthy cause, became a persistent and often exhausting internal debate. This was far more than a mere financial transaction. It was about respectfully honoring the memory of her parents, responsibly managing a singular historical artifact, and fundamentally redefining her own future path. The arduous journey from a quiet, unassuming individual to the unexpected guardian of a multi-million-dollar treasure was undeniably imparting invaluable lessons about the true essence of happiness and the often unforeseen, sometimes burdensome, weight of sudden, immense wealth. She began to grasp that this was not merely a transition, it was a complete and transformative experience. The road ahead remained uncertain, but she knew she must approach it with meticulous consideration, seeking not only financial security but also a profound sense of personal peace and enduring purpose in this extraordinary and exhilarating new chapter of her life. After the whirlwind of media attention and the staggering valuation, the protagonist faced a monumental decision. She spent hours in quiet contemplation, the weight of millions both exhilarating and daunting. This was more than money, it was about honoring her parents' memory and defining her own legacy. Family conversations were crucial, offering diverse perspectives yet respecting her ultimate choice. She realized that while the radio represented immense financial wealth, its true potential lay in creating positive impact. It became clear that simply keeping the wealth would not bring deep fulfillment. Her modest parents had always instilled values of generosity and community support, believing in contributing to a better world. This unexpected inheritance presented a unique opportunity to magnify those principles. After much deliberation, a clear path emerged. She decided to auction the historic radio, understanding this was the most impactful way to realize its full market value. Crucially, a significant portion of the unprecedented profits would not be for personal gain. Instead, it would be channeled into a carefully chosen social cause that resonated deeply with her parents' lifelong commitment, such as education or supporting underprivileged youth. This decision was made with profound purpose. Transforming this inherited treasure into a force for good filled her with incredible happiness. It was a joy transcending mere financial gain, rooted in the knowledge that her parents' simple object would now create lasting positive change. She understood that while the radio offered literal wealth, true abundance lay in the spiritual richness of giving. This journey from a dusty antique to a beacon of philanthropy had imparted profound wisdom. She discovered that the greatest inheritance was not just the material asset, but the opportunity to live out the values instilled by those she loved, creating a legacy far beyond her own life, echoing her parents' quiet generosity for generations to come.